This week on the Spike and Jones podcast.
Welcome to the Spike and Jones podcast. You want to get away from it all? Want to go with us? You can't come.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spike and Jones.
Want to get away?
Yeah. I need a Mounds bar right now.
Do you?
I do. I like Mounds.
I like Almond Joy.
Really?
We can't work together anymore.
No, but this is great. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you only have one left and you don't want to throw it, I was always an Almond Joy guy. Mounds just left me wanting.
Well, it's because it's bittersweet.
Is that what it is?
See, Almond Joy is, it's a sweet chocolate, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the milk chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
The Mounds, God, I can't talk this morning. Mounds is a dark chocolate.
Is it different chocolate?
Yes, a completely different chocolate. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the whole
Because I'm not a Mounds thing.
Yeah, Mounds.
I thought one had nuts and one didn't.
Well, there's that, but Mounds has dark chocolate
and Almond Joy has milk chocolate. Oh, no shit.
Yeah, that's why Mounds is better.
That's why Almond Joy's the bomb, dude.
You suck.
No, I don't. You suck.
Man, you're the one who rides the horse backwards. You're that guy.
I am.
You remember that commercial?
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Oh my God, those are good times. I miss 70s era commercials. I don't miss the "Where's the Beef Lady."
No, she was useless.
But I do miss.
I miss big hair girls.
I'm a spicy meatball.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
all the racist.
Yeah,
all the stereotypical.
Yeah, I love that you can watch Match Game, like say Match Game 74
on the Game Show Network.
Yeah. But you can go onto YouTube
with Bert Convy or Richard Dawson.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Gene Rayburn.
I
got all those names, man.
Oh God!
Oh my God, those are great.
So good.
Oh, those shows were the best, man.
Yes. But if you go on YouTube and watch Match Game, they include the commercials.
Oh, do they really?
Oh
yeah. Cool.
Oh, it's awesome.
Cool.
Super elastic bubble plastic.
Oh, that toxic shit. We had that.
Oh my God. Lawn darts.
I got a set at home, buddy.
So
I own a set of lawn darts.
The
with
originals?
steel tips. You bet.
Oh.
And they're pristine. They are in pristine condition.
I want to come over and play with those.
Yeah.
I remember my
Nate and I keep threatening to bring them to events.
Yeah.
We do.
My grandparents had a set of them in 76, 77 when they came out. Whenever they came out. Somewhere around
3 or 4,
70,
I think.
Okay. But yeah, mid 70s, early to mid 70s. And my one of my cousins got hit in the head. It didn't penetrate, but I remember watching it go tunk right off the top of his head. Yeah. And they're like, just rub some butter on it. You'll be fine.
Oh, man.
There's some horse manure over there.
Yeah.
Just rub some horse manure.
It's organic.
Exactly.
It's all natural.
You're all fine.
We didn't say organic.
Go walk
it off. Rub some dirt on. Walk it off.
It's that was always the answer. My dad always said, if you got hurt, you just walked it off.
Tough it up. Suck it up.
Right? Just walk it
Get back
off.
in the game.
I tore my ankle. I broke my ankle at 2,000 pounds of sheetrock falling. Can you stand on it? No.
It's not broken. Well, it's only cracked.
Yeah, cracked. You're not fat. You're big boned.
Yeah, okay. Oh, my God.
So today we're going to lighten the load a bit, I think.
Yeah.
A lot.
We have to.
The
world is a scary place. Let's go somewhere.
Yeah. So last week's podcast was cathartic and nice, and it was great to have Bob Rivers on the show. So thank you, Bob, again. I didn't get a word in edgewise, but he doesn't know me, so there's that. There is that.
I'm surprised I got a few words in.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life for 6 years.
Yeah,
huh?
You actually way overspoke him, which
was
great.
I know. I'm trying to teach him now.
But Spike and I just thought today, it's a sunny day. It's nice. We got a coffee here at the table. Yeah. We're relaxed. I got my leg up on the table, in fact.
I know, right? So let's pick a nice topic that's easy. Corporal punishment.
Hackboards.
Hackboards. What do you think? What they call extreme interrogation. What do you think?
Can we talk?
Let's go waterboarding now, everybody.
Before we jump into our deep six today, let's actually talk about hackboards for a second.
What are hackboards?
Okay, so back in the 70s,
what?
Corporal punishment was a big thing at school, especially.
Oh, okay.
And there were always teachers with hackboards, the boards you would spank kids with.
Oh, with the holes drilled in them.
With the holes drilled in them.
Keep the wind resistance down.
Yep.
Suck the fat right.
I had a teacher, Mr. Stanton, in 7th grade, who was the notorious hackboard king.
Wow.
And he had about 8 of them hanging on the chalkboard in the front end. And every once in a while, a kid would get unruly, and Mr. Stanton would take them out and promptly hack them on the butt. I mean, and these kids come back crying.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking ferocious,
SWAT,
full on, like a 8-foot arc.
Crank it up.
You can hear the speed of the wind being broken, the whole thing. And one time, I was the kid that I didn't get in trouble, but I definitely was a slight disruptor in class. Sure. Hence why I'm called the Great Disruptor today.
Yes, you are.
And one time I was sitting talking to Brenda Johnson, who I had a fierce crush on, sitting right next to her in class. And Mr. Stanton kept talking, and I kept talking to Brenda, and I look up, and I realize he's looking at me, and he says, Robbie, that was my name in 7th grade. Robbie, go outside. Go get it, go outside. And then about 5 minutes later, I was scared. I'd never been spanked at school anyway.
Yeah.
And he opens the door, and I see all the kids, and he goes, come back in. I go, come back in? And he goes, pick one. Yeah, and I have to pick the board he's going to hit my ass with. And I'm looking for the smallest one, the one with the least,
a feather duster over
right,
there.
Exactly. The one with the least ability to put my ass halfway up my, really, really bad. And I ended up picking the thinnest one, but it had all the holes drilled into it. So he was gonna whip, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I got to take that one because it doesn't have the weight behind it. So I grabbed it and I walked out to the hall. He walks out behind me, closes the door. And he stands there for about 10 seconds with that hack board. He goes, turn around. And he stands there. And he goes, okay, now, what you're going to do is you're going to scream. And there's a bench next to us with Naugahyde. And he hits that so hard with that hack board.
Yeah.
You get that big thump sound, whack, and then and I did the scream, and he goes, rub your eyes hard, and then he leads me back inside, and he looks at me and he goes, let it be a lesson. I'm not gonna hold back on you kids.
Nice.
I've never said it out loud
Coach,
until today.
Conspirator. Wow.
That I
That's awesome.
did not get hacked.
That's awesome.
He just scared the crap out of me. So, Brenda, it's not your fault.
Did you use it with Brenda, though?
I
see how red my butt is. Would you like to see how red my butt is?
I never got a chance. I never even kissed Brenda. I would have loved to have kissed Brenda, and she grew up well, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure. She's buoyant.
She's a friend of mine on Facebook, so I hope you hear this, Brenda, and know that 42 years ago, I was dreadfully enamored with you. Anyway.
Remember her phone number?
486.
You do?
I remember my phone number, but
okay.
I remember the prefix 486. But,
I could tell you every girl swimmer I ever dated.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it because like it was
you used to dial it 10,000 times, man.
Yeah. I know one girl. I remember it was 943-8936, and it was because
254-3518.
The design it made on
the Y,
right?
254-3518.
Yeah,
exactly.
You bet. That is hilarious.
254-9666.
866-8234. That was John's.
Yeah.
That was John's number. I do remember that weird stuff. But nowadays, we got a cell phone. We don't remember Jack.
No.
I don't know your number.
No, you're number 2.
Wow. Let's see. On my favorites,
the charts.
I don't want to hurt your feelings. But let me look really quick. So on my favorites list, you are, look at that. Who's number one?
Bullet,
and where's my wife on the bottom?
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, it's because I reset my phone.
I have a guest room. You can stay with us.
Yeah,
you're in trouble.
I'm sorry, baby. But I got great people on there. I got one guy on there I don't want on there.
That's me.
That pisses me off. There you go. You're gone now. There you go. Okay. Anyway, so today's topic was one of fancy. Just the idea of getting out of the doldrums, and what does Spike and Rob like to do? We like to
travel. I love screwing with you. It's the best. We love to.
I gotta cut that out.
Urinate in public. I don't know what. What are we gonna do?
I gotta cut out that really long.
Just totally sets you up, man. Go ahead.
Nah, I'll let people like that. So.
We love to travel.
We love to travel.
So, but it's funny when you said travel today for our topic. You gave me a couple choices for topics, and both of them were really, really good. But given last week's mood, just the circumstances of what the world went through last week, the world of the Northwest, the world of musical appreciation. Travel was the one you picked, and I've been thinking about it. And it's funny how the thought of travel means so many different things to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
transcendental meditation.
Well, no. It's like memories, good and bad. Hopes. As a kid, I remember traveling as a kid is one of the greatest memories there is, because traveling is when we were kids, and we're not that different in age.
No, 3 years apart.
We didn't plane rides. Get out of Dodge.
No, it was a car.
Come on, man. You got in the back of the car with everything.
Yes.
And you went.
And usually in a rear-facing seat in a
you bet.
station wagon.
Those are the greatest. Screw the people behind you.
Yeah.
Those are the greatest.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally, man. Seatbelts. Yeah. You wish. Seatbelts, please.
Robbie became a projectile today.
Right. For us, travel meant going to see, and we were from the Mid-Atlantic. So our vacations we were close to the ocean. We're a couple, 3 hours from the ocean. Mm-hmm. Most vacations, most travel was, by car. And it was, you get in the car. I told you before, you get in the car but before dawn.
Yeah.
And the old man piles up into the car, and we head for the beach. And you wake up, you get there at sunrise, basically. Mm-hmm. And a day on the beach. And you shower at the, there's a public shower at the end of every street where the street meets the boardwalk. Boardwalk, it's the sand. There's a shower there. You shower off. You change in the back of the car. Somebody holding up a towel. Yeah, go get some dinner, and then go to the boardwalk, win some toys, play some games, ride some rides, and then head home.
That's awesome.
Then there were times where you could actually get a room for a couple nights and stay at the beach when it was really vacation. Not just a day tripper.
Yeah.
But and we would travel to historical places.
Yeah.
I feel
the best part about the
I feel
East Coast.
blessed that we would. I've seen the nation's capital as a little kid, and I've taken my kids there. Yeah. And it's nothing like it. But going to see Gettysburg and going to
Antietam
and Luray Caverns and Skyline Drive and Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
And it's gorgeous on top.
It's stunning. It is just. It's the Appalachian Mountains. It's national parks.
Yeah, Adirondacks, Acadia.
Yeah. Oh my God,
stuff.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that was travel to us.
Was it a plane going to bomb you?
Let's seaplanes. We leave in Lake Union.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's not Trump's cabinet.
So travel as a kid just meant, endurance. Travel as a kid was putting up with miserable so you could get to someplace wonderful.
Right, and not fighting with
your
siblings
separation,
in the back,
putting a wall of sleeping bags rolled up between you and your brother.
That's so true.
And I remember actually having to sit between my parents because we weren't able to be next to each other anymore. My brother and I, my mom would, you sit up here, okay. The old man, with the elbow right across the solar plexus.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no, we always had a 4-seat car. Unless we went with my grandparents, in which case then the station wagon was involved, right? But yeah, we always had a 4-seat car, and my brother and I would just fight incessantly. We just could not. We really didn't ever
really?
Get along.
Are you younger or older?
I'm the older, so of course,
you're a dick.
And I was bigger.
Yeah, I was the little.
Everybody in my family is 5'8" or shorter.
Wow.
And then I'm 6'1", which is totally weird. But I also am built exactly like my grandfather. If there's such a case for reincarnation, I'm him.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
He died when he was 30, so I never met him.
Wow.
Yeah. I look exactly like him. I'll bring a photo next time. It's actually kind of scary.
That's cool.
Poor guy.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry.
No. You traveled as a kid, but that's how you travel. Same experiences, right?
Yeah.
Day trips or overnighters. Or did you go Did you guys like drive to Yellowstone and that kind of shit?
I've never been to Yellowstone.
Me neither.
So my parents did it. It was all day trips. I mean, every once in a while we did a full week.
Right.
But it was always the same place. It was always Westport. I mean,
oh really? West Coast, yeah?
Westport.
Okay.
Just Westport.
Okay, yeah, I know Westport.
Not even Ocean Shores, right? It was always Westport.
You could camp at Westport. That's why.
That's exactly right. One year we did rent an RV, which was our bonus year, right?
Right.
And that year we did. Man, I mean, we went freaking everywhere, but it was still in the Northwest. We didn't head out east.
Didn't go to the.
No, we went to Canada. We went to Osoyoos, Osoyoos, which is not Osoyoos. What am I talking about? Kelowna, Penticton.
Right.
So Lake Okanagan.
I bet that's gorgeous. I've been to Okanagan.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It is, man.
And discover the heritage, the Indian heritage up there, as well as the legends of like Ogopogo, which is basically the northwest version of the Loch Ness.
You bet. I know Ogopogo.
Yeah.
You bet, man.
Yeah. But that, and then we would jam over to Vancouver Island, go to Victoria, go to Butchart Gardens.
Cool. Yeah.
All that stuff. When you're a kid, you don't freaking want to see flowers.
Well, I know
for a
gardens.
day.
That's a shit show.
But the thing that
sorry, Mom.
The thing that we did was either the after church drive, which was annoying for only one reason: it was we didn't eat. So what would happen is after church on Sundays.
Yeah.
We lived in North Central Washington, and it's gorgeous up there. I mean, you can drive around for hours and see, I don't know,
nothing.
Fields. But
the occasional boulder out of nowhere. How the
Yeah.
hell did that get there?
For some reason, when we did these trips, just these trips, there would be no food. So we wouldn't have stopped, say, at home before we left.
Right.
We would
Church and go.
And all of a
Right.
sudden we're driving for 4 hours to, I don't know, Curlew or somewhere in the middle of nowhere, which was great in a sense to see really sort of stark environments. I mean, it's a really unique place up there.
It is.
But, you get home, you're freaking famished and you're pissed off.
You have a lunch destination you'd go to or something? No,
we would just go to, hey, let's go to Sitzmark Ski Resort. Dad, it's June. I know, but it's gorgeous.
No one will be there. We'll park up front.
It's only an hour and a half away. and that's what we did.
Cool.
But I mean, that put tremendous love for the car travel, the American thing, right?
You bet, man.
I love that stuff.
I'm with you.
I love that stuff. I can do that all the time. I mean, hopefully we'll talk about this a little bit today, but I have I think a pretty great story in regards to a time in 2005 when I bought a car in Chicago.
You told me about this. You drove the day we talked about cars.
Yeah.
You drove it home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
But
it
you
was
found
incredible. It was incredible. Best trip I've ever had in my life. I mean, I should say that's not fair. My
Is this
best
one
trip
where
ever was
you almost
Japan.
killed yourself because you
But-
fell asleep?
Exactly.
And
Yeah, dang it, I forgot I
You
told you
pushed
about
yourself past Devil's Tower?
Yeah.
In the Badlands? Yeah.
Yeah. I drove all the way through the Badlands,
Nice.
Devil's Tower, Mount Rushmore, all of Montana, all in one day.
Wow. That's a suicide
It
trip.
is suicide.
That's nut jobs.
I fell asleep driving. I've only fallen asleep once, and that was
Wow.
the trip. Yeah.
I've driven. I've driven from Florida to Maryland. That's done. I've done Seattle to
That's a
L.A.
long ways.
Those are long days. Those are long trips. That's a 20-hour drive.
Yeah.
I've done that in a day.
Yeah.
When we got older, I didn't get on a plane until I flew to Florida. My dad partnered up with a guy. My dad ran car dealerships in Maryland.
So that's 1987 is the first time you went on a plane?
85, I think I'll say, maybe 86, somewhere in there.
Okay. Wow.
I was still living in Maryland and I hadn't fled to Florida yet.
Oh, that's not the
I drove that one down. I took my car down. My folks, my dad ran car dealerships in Maryland and he got in a business partnership with a guy in Florida. And so my folks, were spending this little time in Florida, so I flew down to Florida. First time I ever flew.
Yeah.
And that was because I was in my early 20s. Like, this is the coolest, get down there and borrow a car from the dealership, grab a used car, and go bounding around Florida, just check out the Gulf Coast or check out the Space Coast. And, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. I would like to see that. I've never seen that.
Oh, really? Mm-mm. Oh, man. It's flatter than you think. It really is.
And it rains at 3 o'clock.
It really is every day. When I moved to Seattle, and my career gave me the opportunity to start traveling because I was actually making some money. And, but I was only single here for a very short time. Mm-hmm. I met Melissa 6 months after I got here. And our older daughter is from Melissa's first marriage. Mm-hmm. So she had joint custody with her ex. So we were kind of, childless for half the time, our first few years, quite a few years of marriage. Mm-hmm. So, and my job offered me the opportunity to go do conventions in other cities, and I got to see New Orleans and Dallas and Chicago and Vegas and LA and
that's cool.
On business and on the boss's dime. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I got to take Melissa, to many times, and we would go see my folks in Florida, and I would take her back to the East Coast, and to see my family there and show her off where I grew up and stuff like that. And that kind of travel was great. And then we got to go to Ireland, on Jameson's dime, like a half dozen times. And the first year it was like a 3-day trip, and you hit it and get it. And then I convinced them to say, look, let me extend this. Let me go in 3 days early and stay 3 days later, whatever, wherever St. Pat's fell on that day of the week that year. We would go a couple days early, stay 5 days late, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But I said, it won't cost you a penny more. Just book my flight early, book it late. I'll pay all my own expenses outside of the Jameson engagement. And I took Melissa most every time I went. I think I only went twice without her. Of the 6 times I got to go, twice I went without her. And I got to see Ireland extensively. Yeah. I got to see different parts of Ireland on different years. And I'm a firm believer that I could live in Ireland. I could expat and I could retire in Ireland. Yeah. Easily. In a heartbeat. But that's because it's romantic for me, and I could,
It's the same for me in Japan.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Except, here's what I'm trying to get to. Travels, when you got the means, and it's just you and the one you love or whatever, or just you and some friends. It's everyone experiences it different, I guess. But or they've all got wonderful stories. But you do it because you're broadening your horizons and you're seeing things outside of the world.
It's all bucket list type stuff.
I feel people who have never traveled. I really feel for them. People who know what they know and don't know anything else. Yeah. And have no basis of comparison or perspective on life. And then you travel with kids, and everything changes.
It sucks to life.
Everything changes.
It does.
It's not about relaxing. It's not about rest. It's not about you anymore.
Yeah. You can try to make it about those
things.
It
ain't going to happen. It's about, it's a life and time and cash sucking.
It's an expensive endeavor.
It is. In every way, shape, or form. Yeah. I remember going back east with the kids with the girls are so far in age. We only had really one of them at a time. Yeah. We traveled a couple times with both of them when they were. Darby was 1, 2, 3, 4, and Ryan was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that kind of thing. In those years, we were able to travel with both girls. But for the most part, we just had either Ryan or we had Darby. Yeah. And I feel for people on airplanes. Yeah. When we talked about travel, I don't think this is probably where we were trying to go.
No, that's all right. We can talk about. I have some thoughts.
Okay. I mean, I feel for people on airplanes with kids, and I used to be a dick who resented people on airplanes with kids. Yeah. Until you travel with a kid.
You feel so guilty.
Oh my God. And then you're mortified. Yeah. Your kid screams.
Sure, you don't want to talk about guilt today?
Your kid screams all the way on a red-eye flight. We took Darby, when my sister got married, we took Darby and Ryan back east for Christmas and for the holidays and my sister's wedding. And Darby would have been about 2 or 3. Mm. And we wanted to make her sleep on the overnight red-eye. And we gave her some Benadryl.
Oh, you're so evil.
And we flipped the switch, man. She was up all night, jacked.
Yeah, it's the worst.
All night. I mean, marching across 3, seat trays. Yeah. For the poor people in front of us, I'm just buying drinks left and right for everybody else around me on the plane.
Just to let you know, I love you guys.
I think I spent more on liquor than I did on tickets. On those trips, I spent more on liquor than tickets. Traveling with a kid is all about hauling. You become a pack mule as the dad. You become the pack mule, You sacrifice everything.
Unless you marry a Japanese woman, and then she carries all your crap.
Shit,
oh,
really?
It's awesome.
Oh, I totally fucked up.
Tomoko, I love you. She does, dude. We went. I got to interrupt you for a second. We went to Remlinger Farms for my boy's 4th birthday. They turned 4 yesterday, and so Saturday we went to the farm, and I'm like, honey, it's a nice day. You know, I mean, they don't need anything except maybe their water bottles because they have their water things they drink from. And I said, don't bring anything. I turned around as we're getting out of the car. She's got sandwiches and all this crap, and she's got 2 giant bags bigger than I don't know, freaking duffel bags carrying rackets inside of it. You know, she might as well have been. And she humped that stuff around all day, and I was like, I felt like I was in like Vietnam. You know, I wanted to save her from this just freaking pack mule humping this crap all over the place. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I got to protect my kids. And I'm like, you're so Japanese.
Oh, man.
You know, but you can carry
it.
I'm
so whipped.
I allow you to carry it. I know that.
You're a good American.
Yes.
You really are, man. It's funny. I'm sitting here bitching and moaning about traveling with kids and how, it's not about you, it's about them. But there's no greater joy than watching your kid make a memory.
Oh, God.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, did you so without the sidetrack too far, did anybody see the video of my kids at the Remlinger Farms on Saturday? Did you see that? Spike?
I saw pictures. I didn't watch the video.
Okay.
Train ride?
There's a train ride, and there's a whole bunch of other photos, of course, because you can't help taking pictures of your kids. But my boys had never been on a roller coaster, and for all my friends who know, a significant part of my travel is actually solo trips. My wife is not a roller coaster person at all, and I am a pretty big fan.
Yeah.
And so I actually take vacations that are roller coaster exclusive. And I will go, I do. I'm one of those guys you see on the Travel Channels like, this is 318 feet tall and has a top speed of 97 miles an hour with a 45-degree drop angle.
And this is my 7th ride of the day.
Exactly. And no, they've got clickers, dude. 1,000 clicks, just crazy stuff. We're now going, y'all hear, we're now going 73.2 miles an hour going up the 4th hill, the apex of 12 degrees. I mean, these guys do this, okay?
Yeah.
However, I hang out with them because there's a lot of great people, regardless of some of the nerdier qualities. And, I go on these trips. I just fly out to, say, the Midwest, and then we do a big coaster tour, right?
Really?
I've talked to you about it, I think, before.
No.
Oh,
I did not know you did this.
Oh, yeah. No,
You're a coaster geek?
I am a coaster geek. We'll actually talk about this in a second then, because I thought I had shared the story with you.
No.
Okay. But I will tell you about this before.
Mounds bars and a coaster geek?
Star chocolate, I'm telling you.
You're a freaking weirdo.
But my daughter, she's 6, and I had taken her on so there's a small child-sized roller coaster.
Kiddie coaster, sure.
Yeah.
A bumper.
I took her on that coaster when she was, say, almost 4, right? 3.5, whatever. And she didn't love it, but she liked it. I took the boys there for their 4th birthday last week, and we got in line, and Cadence wasn't so sure this was going to be fun. And I said, that's all right, honey, I'm with you. And we go walking up, and the guy says, I got one more car, which means only 2 kids or a parent and kid can get in, which means one of my kids is going to be stuck behind. I can't do that.
Okay.
And for some weird reason, I just said, okay, guys, go. And so one of my little boys goes with Mom. Mm-hmm. The other boy goes with Cadence. And Cadence and I believe it's Alexander end up in the back seat. Well, coasters, front seats have the view, but you're halfway down the hill before it catches speed.
Right.
When you're in the back seat, you get pulled over the top because of all the weight of the coaster train.
Right.
So it's by far the most intense place to be. And Cadence was not ready for that surprise. Oh. And we're talking halfway down the hill. She literally screamed out and then cried the entire time as I'm watching her go through the trail. Yeah. My son, he's more disconcerted because Cadence is crying, so he's not having a really good time. I asked him afterwards. I said, "Do you guys want to go again?" And they're like, "Nah, we don't want to go." And I'm like, "God dang it! Now all my kids hate coasters, right? Now I'm still the only one that likes them, But by the end of the day, I asked the boys and my daughter as well. I said, "Hey, you want to go on the coaster again? This time, Daddy will go with you, and it'll be so much more fun." And my daughter, she turns it down. She goes over and rides one of the little girl rides, if you will. Mm-hmm. And the boys are like, "Well, we'll try it again." So I walk up. well, it's the same thing. I can't get on with them. I can't ride with both of them. I don't fit. And so I say, go ahead, boys. And they go and they get in. I go running around to watch them come down the hill. I didn't even tell them to do this. They've got their arms up like a coaster fanatic would.
Yeah.
And they rode the coaster 28 times in a row. And loved
Awesome.
every second of it. Didn't want to get off. The guy every 3 tries, would say, "Hey guys, you got to get off." Oh, I said, "Guys, come on." I go, "Just go around the corner and just run on in, and they'll let you right on." They're like, "Really, Daddy?" So they go running around, and next thing I know, the next time it comes, they just run right by me. They didn't even listen to me at all. They just wanted to get right back on it.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. 28 laps.
So they're not adopted. Whew, thank God.
Thank God. So now I can take them on my roller coaster trips in about 5 years.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you want to hear what I did one time?
Yeah.
So in 2003, I decided I was going to take a true roller coaster trip. I was going to hit 8 or 9 parks. So and I had developed a rapport online with probably 10 coaster nerds similar to me that I thought they were grown-ups. They weren't 16, 17-year-old kids. They were 30 plus, right?
Right.
Except for one who was maybe 24. But he and I had a lot in common. He had been in Japan. He's a musician. I really sort of liked him. And I literally put out an open altar call on this website called Coaster Buzz, which was it still is a well-known coaster website that's exclusively focused on amusement parks and roller coasters. It's basically for, they call it a coaster enthusiast, right? Or amusement park enthusiast. Long story short is I put out an altar call. Hey, I'm coming out to the Midwest. I need somebody to ride with me, to go with me. I don't know any of you guys. Does anybody want to go? I'll pay. I literally said that. I'll pay. Hey, I was rolling in cash. What can I say at the time? I was doing well. And so one of them said yes, and I flew into Chicago. And literally have no idea what this guy looks like. That's how crazy this is. And I show up, and he's 24 years old, and he was going to Peabody Institute in Baltimore. So he has extraordinary.
Oh, yeah.
He's a classical. He's one of the best guitar players in the world. He's extraordinary. He teaches down in Florida now.
Nice.
But long story short is
Chicago kid though.
No, he's from. What's the capital of Chicago? Of Chicago, of
Springfield?
Illinois? Springfield. He's from Springfield. And so he happened to be home, flew in to see his parents and then met me in Chicago because that was where we were going to start the trip.
Yeah.
And anyway, pick him up, and we drove down what would 90 be called? Not an expressway, but the toll road.
Yeah, Parkway?
Yeah, the Parkway to over to Cedar Point. And that was going to be our first experience going to Cedar Point. So we ended up going there to Cedar Point. The next day we went to Six Flags, Ohio. Then we went back to Cedar Point. Then we went south to Kings Island. Then we went to Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville. Then we went to Holiday World in southern Indiana, stayed there 3 days. Then went to Indiana Beach. Then went to Six Flags in Chicago, outside of Chicago. That was our trip. Okay. 54 new to me coasters in 8 days.
Jesus Christ.
Awesome. But the crazy part about the whole experience was
doing it with a serial killer.
Crazy. Well, there was a couple reasons. There's a couple things that sucked about it. Jeff is his name, and Jeff snores like a madman.
Oh, dude!
And I'm the lightest sleeper in the world, so I slept like an hour in 2 weeks. It was crazy.
Oh no!
It was terrible. But he was a great guy.
No earplugs with you? No, nothing.
Well, I tried it and it didn't work.
No
I just can't. I can't do it.
So be in the car.
Yeah.
After night 2.
Yeah, and I had been.
You guys couldn't get 2 rooms?
This was when Priceline was cool.
Yeah.
Right? I bought all the stuff on Priceline, and it was like, fortunately, everywhere we went was 2 beds. It wasn't like we had to share a bed.
Yeah.
I've had that happen, which is exciting. And I sleep naked, so that's really exciting.
It weirded me out, dude.
In fact, I got to tell at least that story once, because once I went with a buddy of mine, and we flew in the same area, and we went to Louisville, Kentucky, and we get there, and it's 11:30 at night. We had encountered storms, and so we ended up landing late, and we had missed a tornado by like
Holy
10
crap.
minutes. It was crazy. Yeah, and we get to the the hotel, and the guy looks at us for about 2 seconds and goes, so, like he's trying to figure out if we're a couple.
Right.
Yeah. And he goes, see, you got Priceline thing here, and we got one queen bed. And I was like, yeah, but we need the 2 beds. And he goes, why? Which was great.
We're going to destroy one and sleep in the other.
Exactly. I'm not sleeping in that spot. So we end up going up to that room, and it's only one bed, and we're so tired. It's like, I don't care, right? Yeah. So here's the thing. I
have to sleep naked?
Dude, I'm OCD. I have to sleep a certain way, and it just wasn't working for me. I got in bed. I got my underwear on and whatnot, and he's asleep. He's over there, so it's all good. He's on the side. He's all good. And as soon as he fell asleep, I was like, shh, slip those puppies off.
Well, he's just shaking in pain and pretending to be asleep.
Exactly. No, but I slipped them off, put them down on the side of the bed just in case. Just in case I had to get up and I didn't want to freak him out in the middle of the night or in the morning. Right. He wakes up and early
and you're wrapped around him.
Takes a shower, and he comes out, which with the door opening from the shower is what woke me up. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm naked. How am I gonna do this? And I don't want him to know I'm naked. So I'm trying to fumble. You know what I mean? And he goes, and the first thing he says, as I bend over, as I roll over, and I'm covered. He goes, dude, I know you're naked, so just. And I'm like, I'm naked. What do you mean you know I'm naked? And he goes, I saw your ass earlier. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry. He goes, just don't do it again. So here's the part that was crazy about this roller coaster trip.
What?
It gets crazy.
It's what?
No, but so I'd never been to Holiday World, and it's in southern Indiana. It's by far my favorite amusement park in the world. It's just a fabulous place. It's wonderful. And it's very homegrown. It's super inexpensive. Everything about it is just podunk, and you set your park meter to Mosey when you're there. You know what I mean? It's that kind of place. Beautiful trees, great food. No, you don't pay to park. You don't pay for the water park. You don't pay for soft drinks.
You're kidding me.
It's all free. The only thing you pay is the gate entry and your food. And your food is normally priced like a $3 hamburger, not an $8 hamburger.
Wow.
It's awesome.
What year was this, though?
This was in it's still the same.
No way.
It's still the same.
Not Mike Pence's Indiana.
$45 to get in the park and $3 for a hamburger, and everything else is free. Everything else is free. It's awesome. It's awesome. That place is freaking awesome.
Stop making fun of Indiana right now.
Yeah. So we go, and they have this thing at the time. It's called something different now, but they have this thing called Stark Raven Mad, and it's because they have this roller coaster called the Raven. Mm-hmm. Okay, they had 2 coasters at the time, the Raven and the Legend. I wonder what they're based on, Edgar Allan Poe stuff, right? So the Raven has this 5th drop. It's in the roller coaster community. It's kind of notorious for being pretty intense.
Yeah.
And it's the reason it was ranked so highly because the coaster really hauls ass, and you're almost done with the ride, and then all of a sudden you get this big freaking surprise that just pulls you. You just feel like you're gonna die. You feel like you're gonna just shoot out of the coaster. And especially in the back seat, right? Especially in the back seat. So this coaster enthusiast event is called Stark Raven Mad, and they run it after the park is closed. They run it until midnight, and all the coasters are in the woods, so you have no light. There's nothing. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's going on. It's awesome. Okay, so the first night is an absolute blast. We're all tired and worn out, but we're happy. I'm giddy. I'm meeting all the people I've met online but never met in person. It's fabulous. And I'm meeting some really great people, some really funny, interesting people my age with really odd proclivities.
You think?
Yeah. It's great. It was great, though. It was so great. We had so much fun. So the next day is the long day. It actually goes the entire Saturday. And we did the whole thing, and it was great. And then they have this sort of, evening entertainment with band and a big barbecue. It's freaking awesome. This place is awesome. And
Holiday World?
Holiday World. So we go there to the barbecue. We're all hanging out. We're listening to the band play, a terrible version of Free Fallin'. You know what I mean? The whole thing.
Oh yeah.
We're eating chicken, and we're wondering why the gates aren't opening. How come they haven't released us into the park yet? And that's because they have to clear the park before they let the nerds out, right? Right. But it's running late, and I've never been here for one of these events, so I'm not really paying attention, but I'm like, why is it taking so long? I'm talking to a buddy of mine, Mike, and all of a sudden I hear, excuse me, and a tap, tap, tap on the microphone, and it's the park owner. It's a woman. Her name is Pat. She's an old, elderly lady who still hangs out there, which is great because she's like 85 years old, and she's like high-fiving people. I mean, it's awesome. Aww. This place is awesome. She walks up there, and she's really sullen. I mean, quiet. Yeah. And this is exactly what happened. She said, again, I'm still paraphrasing a bit, but she said, I wanted to let you know that there's been an accident in the park, and it's not good. And she's really quiet, and the audience is immediately shut down because we thought she's coming up here to say, here we go, you know what I mean? And she said, there was a woman ejected from the Raven coaster today, and the ambulance has taken her, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we are having to shut down the park tonight. We can't have the event. Right. And it was such a stark moment because, it's all fun and games until somebody dies. Right. Turns out, because coaster enthusiasts are notorious, it's not really allowed anymore. But at the time, up until this event happened, there was this sort of rigging, if you will, allowed on coasters where people would bring lanyards and they would tie string to like the top part of the coaster and then pull the bars back so there would be massive amount of space. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't hold you down. So you would get airtime. I mean, big time. Like you would be like, whoa, when you'd ride the coasters. Yeah. And it's because coasters are designed. I mean, they're engineered to not eject you. They're engineered to almost eject you. Right.
But that's also takes into account a bar.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there's also seat belts too, but what they would do is they would leave them really loose. So they would quote unquote be on you, but they wouldn't necessarily hold you in. So this woman and her fiance they were on their honeymoon trip, but they hadn't been married yet, but they were it was pre-marriage. Yeah. I if I remember correctly. They were in there. Well, they get on the Raven and they sit in the back seat. And she unbuckles her seatbelt, tucks it in on the side. The only reason they know that this is what happened is because the man said she ejected from him. We don't know what happened. Well, she tucked it in, so they knew when the coaster came back, they were tucked in. Yeah. It doesn't happen on accident. Right. They were pushed down in between the cushions. So she's jamming along with nothing to hold her in. And they hit that fifth hill, boom, she just shot right out of the coaster.
Fuck.
Yeah. And
flew through the air.
Hundreds
of feet.
I mean, far.
But I mean, she's elevated.
They're maybe 80 feet off the ground. Yeah. She goes straight out. Yeah. She catches up to the coaster, hits the coaster. Oh no. And then falls in between the cracks on the wood and falls underneath the coaster. Oh. And so she actually had died instantly, but they didn't want to talk about. They didn't want to freak us out any more than so. Right. So that entire experience from then on, all of us.
You guys kept on your tour.
We kept on the tour, but I admit, I was literally all of a sudden afraid of coasters. Like coasters, oh my God, coasters can kill me. Yeah. And the rest of the trip wasn't fun because I was so afraid that that could actually happen.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And anyway, I know this is weird. It's not really a point to the story. It's just to say that I experienced that being there and not knowing her. But I know her name. I mean, that was 14 years ago, and it's like it happened yesterday. I can see as vividly, plain as day.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
must have been fun.
Yeah. But the coaster trip itself was awesome.
I don't quest vacation. I mean, I guess.
Are you kidding me?
What?
What do you mean you don't quest vacation? I mean, if you go to Ireland,
of course, yeah.
It's just a different kind.
I don't quest vacation. I mean, I don't go to do that one thing. I won't go surf somewhere. I won't go mountain
biking in Chile or something.
Fuck that noise,
you
know.
Yeah. You want to relax. You don't want to work out.
Yeah, but then I got to have kids, so I don't relax. You never relax. We got to go to Oslo, Norway for the Olympics.
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
We got to go to the Lillehammer Winter Olympics in '94 on Coca-Cola's dime. And I might see a theme here. Joe and I...
Yeah, we don't pay. It's called We Don't Pay.
Joe and I got to broadcast from Lillehammer for 5 days in the middle of the 1994 Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
That's the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding Olympics.
Yeah.
I told you that day I grabbed Kristi Yamaguchi's ass. Great ass.
With the jeans on.
With the jeans on.
Yeah.
Whew, Thunderbolt. But Lillehammer is this little mountain town in the middle of frickin' nowhere.
Yeah.
And you land in Oslo, and you take like a bus out of an hour plus outside of town to Lillehammer. And there's no hotels in Lillehammer. They built an Olympic village for the athletes, and they built a media village for the media. But like corporate guests, which is what we officially were of Coca-Cola, that's who we broadcast, for. Coca-Cola, 3M, John Hancock, all these Kodak corporate sponsors rented all these homes and apartments in this little mountain town of Lillehammer. So for a week, I had a 2-bedroom, 4-story penthouse apartment with decks on the front and the back.
Wow.
Looking up the mountain and looking down the mountain.
Why am I married?
It's like, holy fuck. It was Lillehammer's just snow.
So gorgeous.
Gorgeous, and snow falling every day, and there's 250,000 people ascending on this little mountain town. And there's, locals that are selling reindeer goods,
Wow.
Laplanders that came in for the Olympics. And, it was amazing.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
It was killer. And this was in '94 when Jägermeister was all the rage in America, right?
Right.
So we get to Lillehammer, we get to Oslo, we get to the airport, we hit the duty free. We buy like 2 half-gallons, Joe and I, of Jägermeister. But it's the opiated European Jägermeister.
Oh my gosh.
Not the shit they clean up and sell to wimpy Americans. Well, halfway through the Olympics, we rolled over a weekend somehow during our broadcast. We had like the middle swing of the 2-week Olympic stay. So we had like Thursday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was our broadcast. Yeah. So on Sunday we were out of booze, and in Lillehammer, even during the Olympics, they don't sell liquor on Sunday.
Really?
Yep.
Is it I
don't know, national law, I guess. They
they're not Christians.
Right. Well, but they would not sell liquor.
Yeah.
The only liquor store in Lillehammer was closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we bribed the bus driver of Coca-Cola, the shuttle bus driver, who was taking us from from the ski event to the figure skating event to the hockey arena, which were all like in little towns outside of Lillehammer.
Right.
We bribed his ass to take us back to Oslo. We got more Jägermeister and came back to Lillehammer. It was awesome.
Is it really like a ferocious version of Jägermeister?
Oh, we were just doped up for a week.
Wow.
We were just...
You and Joe.
We were, everybody,
Really?
the entire broadcast team of... Because there was shows from all over the place.
Good morning, Bob. We're
hey,
here.
man, this is the greatest. But for us, it was like we broadcast from like 4 to 7 evening time.
Yeah.
To morning show here. So it was great. We'd get up, eat, sober up, and then go broadcast and start drinking at 7. And just go to your I mean, you walk right out and it's like 3 degrees out and snowing.
Yeah.
And you got like a t-shirt on,
Don't even notice
it.
It
was awesome.
So did you? So you got to tell us 2 things, because I've heard the Kristi Yamaguchi thing before, but I've never known why. Mm-hmm. Why? How did your hand end up on her tail? How does that happen?
Because we're
because that's awesome.
It was funny. And I may have been a little drunk.
Yeah.
We had we were broadcasting in a store window. They had rented a retail store in Lillehammer and turned into the Coca-Cola broadcast facility. So you know how they have display windows, mannequins.
Right, it's like Amsterdam.
They put a little table in each display window from a different city.
Right.
And we were Seattle, And Kristi Yamaguchi was the guest of Coca-Cola. She was on, talk about skating, and she'd come in and do a little interview with each one. And afterward, we ran into them at a bar. We stopped in there, and I'm just, you have got the most. No, I just gotta sell that. Flirty.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, just a fucking thunderbolt. Anyway, I'm sorry, honey. I know. I don't know if I ever told my wife this, but
You
man,
just did.
I just did. Well, we told his mom, so we had to tell you too.
Oh my goodness. Those are good times. Did you actually see an event?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
We saw tons of events. We got to go see figure skating. We got to go see hockey. We got to go see the luge. And when you're watching the luge, and like
it goes so
you see it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Because you're at various points along the course, and all of a sudden, there they go. Who was that? Who cares?
Wow.
Who was that? I don't know. That was awesome.
It's just amazing.
But the long jump, the big
ski jump.
Because I mean, in my apartment, which was like on the main drag, of Lillihammer, the apartment that I rented, and it was so maybe 4 blocks from where we were broadcasting, but on Main Street. At my front deck where the street was, looking down the hill toward the lake. Mm-hmm. And below us in the lake was a big farm that NBC had rented, and it was their broadcast headquarters from that huge barn. Mm-hmm. And the Olympic rings were in flame on the hillside, and it was just gorgeous. And the whole town and valley were laid out below you. And at the back of my apartment, that deck was looking up the hill toward the Olympic flame for Lillihammer.
Crazy.
And the ski jump.
Oh, dude.
So I could literally sit on my deck and drink and watch people take off and land from the ski jump.
They jumped so far.
It was just insane. But going to that day was crazy. It was just mayhem. They had a check station before you went in that you could check your weapons and your booze. Because people were just walking around with fifths of booze and knives or what
Yeah.
But you couldn't take them in. Yeah, it was Europe. I mean, there are people from everywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't take them in, so there was like a big wall of pegboards, and you put your shit in a clear plastic bag and hang it up there, and they give you a tag.
Wow.
After you come back and get your shit back and go about your day.
Wow.
It was funny when we got to go to Lillehammer. I wasn't a skier, but my father-in-law had just retired from Boeing a few years earlier, and he'd taken up skiing when he retired. Mm-hmm. He never had a chance to ski when he was a working man, but he took the early retirement from Boeing. Remember when they moved everybody to Chicago, all the upper management? Yeah. They retired all their upper management and promoted their middle guys to save money. Well, my father-in-law was one of the upper management that they retired. So at 55, he retired from Boeing with the golden handshake, the stock option golden handshake.
Wow.
Yeah. He started climbing and hiking and skiing at 55. And he's like, you cannot go to Norway and not ski.
Huh.
When we found out I was going to Norway. So for Christmas that year, he got me used ski gear and bought me all this gear and took me up and taught me how to ski. And like 6 straight Wednesdays at Snoqualmie Pass.
Wow.
He taught me how to ski Wednesday nights.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I went to Lillehammer and I rented a pair of skis. And I swear to God, I got on.
Broke your ankle the first
No. And we were broadcasting till 4 p.m. So I get up at like 7 a.m. and I got gear and I go, I want to go to the skiing. I go to the bus driver and I'm skiing. Okay, this is the bus. Well, next thing you know, people start getting on the bus and painted faces, and they took me to the ski event. I'm like, no. I get there, I'm like, me. Okay.
That guy.
Me. Not me.
Yeah.
I'm speaking in monkey, they took me to the women's course, which was a little further away in Hafjell, which nothing going on that day. And
it's like the woman's tees.
Well, yeah, but it was where the ladies downhill was being held. Yeah. But still, I mean, I don't ski. Yeah. I mean, I've been skiing 6 times at this point in my life.
Yeah.
And I, got my rental gear and got up, and there was nobody there, but I got up on the lift and and I rolled down the mountain 1 time.
Wow.
Falling like every 25 feet. Because this was just a fucking steep. Even the beginners courses were just like, forget this.
It's the Olympics.
But I skied in Norway.
Wow.
And I got my way back. I made my way to the village and got there and ate and got on there and had a ball. It was a great trip.
Wow.
Lillehammer was a screamer, man. It's funny though, I haven't mentioned yet, and it's when we talk about travel. Again, I've taken the family on vacations, and I've been to Hawaii, both through work and just in personal. But when I travel with World Vision, that is the most impactful travel I've ever experienced.
Yeah,
I got to go to first Bangladesh, Then I got to go up the Amazon River for a week on a medical boat with doctors and nurses. And then I got to go to Zambia.
Wow.
And World Vision, when we did our World Vision trips, we did our World Vision sponsorship drives on the air. We did that for quite a few years. A couple years I didn't get to go. 3 years I did get to go. The last year I didn't get to go. But that changed my life. That's the kind of travel that changes your life.
Right.
And when you travel for vacation or to relax, or because my boss travels and he travels smart. His hobby is to plan trips. That's how he relaxes. He'll plot out cheap airfares, cheap hotels, excursions,
right? Kind
and
of
never go on them.
Yeah.
But he just plots them. And when it gets so good, that's when he goes. When he finds a deal that's so good, even he can't pass it up.
Right.
That's when he goes.
Wow.
But when I went to Bangladesh, it was Joe and Bob and I. And Joe didn't want to go because World Vision trips aren't vacations. They take great care of you as a radio broadcaster because you're going to go deliver the message.
Right.
And, they put you up in the very best accommodations possible. That being said, there were some nights where like, holy fuck.
Right. It's not the Peace Corps. It's not that hardcore.
Right.
But it's close.
But yeah.
Once you get out there.
We got the first trip was Bangladesh in Dhaka, most populated city on the face of the earth, the most densely populated city on the face of the earth for square footage.
I didn't know.
It's like, imagine Manhattan on Mercer Island.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Dhaka is, but it's that many people.
And it's not that tall either.
No,
it's just jammed in.
It's funny you mention that because there are no heavy equipment. There's no heavy equipment in Bangladesh and Dhaka. We watch people building skyscrapers fucking by hand.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding. There was one being built, and they were on about the 10th, 11th floor.
Right. They're using bamboo for the scaffolds, all that stuff.
They're using bamboo for the scaffolds. They are rope pulling up barrels of water and sacks of concrete, which they're mixing by hand.
Right.
And on the top of the roof, which was still I was looking down from a couple stories down from my window in my hotel to theirs. And there's a guy mixing by hand concrete.
And there's no engineering either.
No, and they're
eye lining it.
And they're building with brick and then filling in with concrete. And there's rebar at the ass, but they're mixing with concrete, and then guys put big bowls of concrete on their heads and walk across planks and dump them, and then come back and get another one, and that's how they're building this skyscraper by hand. Next to it is an empty lot, and they're digging the foundation by hand because they're going to build another one. They're digging like 6 foot deep, 4 foot trenches for the footing of this skyscraper. It was like, Jesus, because there's no cranes, there's no dump trucks, there's nothing.
Right.
And these guys are just working. They're labor. They got labor is what they got.
Wow.
But we got there, and it was, I've never had a panic attack in my life. But as we left the airport and we landed in Dhaka, and I've been to airports all over. I've been to Ireland, I've been to Norway, I've been to wherever. I've been in a lot of American airports. But when it landed in Dhaka, and you're like, okay, this is different. There's a fuckload of people, and there's people with bundles of shit tied up with rope. That's their luggage. So in a lot of cases. And you go out and you get in the vans from World Vision, and there's a fence around the thing, and there's like people pressed against the fence on the outside, and there's like armed guards, and you go in it, and there's just and you drive in, and it's like any other area, but then as you drive into the city, it just gets denser and people wise, and denser and denser and denser, until you're driving into Dhaka, and it's literally 3-lane road with 4 lanes of traffic on it, and cars are 2 inches from you on every side.
Right, that makes sense.
And there's buses with people like hanging out the doors of the buses, and they're packed standing room only, and they're sitting on the roof of the buses, and there's motorcycles going between them, and those little rickshaw carts. It's just madness.
Yeah. And
I'm like, as we're going into the I'm just like, Jesus, and I can't believe it. And I'm like, I couldn't leave the hotel. We got in and we got settled, we got showered. We went to dinner that night, and I'm like, I don't think I can go out. I don't think I can do it. I can't go out there. It was overwhelming. And we calmed my ass down, and we went to dinner at a nice little place, and it's cool.
Little pussy.
Yeah. It was, Well, then we saw like the city of Bangladesh, and you see like how densely people are packed in, and what people live in, and And these are people who had something and lived, and then we go to the landfill, where like
where people
lean-tos are built
in landfills. Yeah, that's where they scavenge for food. And
we did in Bangladesh for in Dhaka for a couple days, and went out to the countryside and saw the more rural, with no plumbing, no electricity kind of poverty of Bangladesh. But you see that, and it's like it changes you. You get a different perspective on things. Like we talked about optimism before, and I don't get depression, and I always see the upside, and I feel very blessed. I mean, we are very blessed.
Yeah.
Because I've seen what troubles look like, and I don't have any.
Yeah.
We talk about first world problems, man. I've seen what shit looks like, and we ain't got any. We're fine. For all our bitching and moaning about this, that, and the other, and whomever, we got no problems.
Yeah, it's amazing. We could go off on crazy tangents just about that alone, because the idea of charity, people talk about it a lot. And I mean, I'm one of them who says, I want to do all these things. I want to help people. But man, what do I really want to do? I actually just want to give the money and let somebody else handle it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of going and seeing the ugliness of it. I'm afraid of getting overwhelmed by it. I'm afraid of what might happen there. I'm afraid of actually having to deal with nasty stuff like
we were
diapers.
We were in Zambia, in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And went to a farm where World Vision had been. So they dug a well on this guy's property. He had like 3 generations, and his brother's family as well, all living in a room that they all lived in. Mm-hmm. And they had a family farm with 2 cows, but they had a well, had a pump. So they were great. They were well off. And this guy, slaughtered a goat while we were there, because we were the honored guests of it from America.
Right. And they want you to slaughter it?
Well, no, they want us. It's funny, when we were in Bangladesh, when we were in Africa, we were in the Amazon, these people have nothing, but they give you since you're from America, they give you the very best in whatever they have. They give it. They treat you to that,
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and they literally butcher this goat and let the blood drain out so that the chickens can eat the blood. The chickens are feeding on that, and then they skin it and butcher it and cook it, and I'm sitting there like thanking the Lord for the creator of the Cliff Bar.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll take
canned beans you brought
oh
with
my
you.
God! I'll tell you a quick story about, and then I'll get off the whole third world shit. We were in Bangladesh the first trip. I've mentioned Zambia and I've mentioned Bangladesh, but the Amazon was my favorite trip because it was on a boat, and it was like I've never seen this many bugs.
It only has a few things that kill you there.
I've never seen this many bugs in my life. But the Amazon was amazing.
Yeah.
You'd go from village to village to village on this medical boat. Yeah. And the only access to the villages were the river.
Right.
All the transportation was on the river.
And it was boats, because if you swam, you'd die.
Oh, piranhas.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And not
alligators,
to mention,
you name it.
Not to mention the microbes in the water.
Yeah.
The parasites in that water. Don't get in the water. They're fine. Their kids are swimming, washing, playing.
Yeah.
But us, forget it.
Yeah.
But the Amazon, this boat did a month-long circuit, and we were on it for a week. And it would literally go to village to village to village, travel by night, dock before dawn, treat the village, dental, medical, the whole 9. At the sunset, we'd have dinner and then take off again to the next village.
Wow. And
this boat would do a monthly circuit, so the boat came once a month. And people would come to the village, and the day the boats came, they'd come out of the wilderness, out of the Amazon, out of the jungle, into the village to get their medical attention.
Wow.
And it was just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing. But in Bangladesh, out in the hinters of Bangladesh, Momin Singh, I think, was the province we were in, and we go out in the village and we meet locals, and we wonderful people, just wonderful little kids. Joe brought bubbles with him, and you'd have thought he was the fucking Pied Piper, because he's blowing bubbles, and kids had never seen anything like this before in their lives. We're taking pictures with our phones and showing these kids what they look like, and they'd never seen themselves. Because there weren't mirrors. There aren't mirrors.
Crazy.
They had no idea. These kids had no idea what they looked like. I mean, there was kids. It was magic. And we get back to the community center, and they put a feast out for us. And it's like chickens that were running around that afternoon, fish that were swimming, and that mean the most amazing, freshest, amazing food I've ever tasted in my life.
Raw, because it's that
it was
fresh.
amazing food with spices. Perfect.
Yeah.
And those people eat spices not because they like spicy, but because it keeps the mosquitoes off of them.
Yeah.
Seriously, it really does.
Yep.
Well, they eat with their hands. You eat with your hand.
I've seen that movie with Ben Stiller.
Yeah. Did they do it in the movie? What happened?
The one with Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, is that Along Came Polly?
Yeah, where he's like eating the food with the hand. He's all sweat and just grossed out.
They also, in the hinters of the third world, don't have toilet paper.
Yeah. So you can put two and two together there.
And Joe's left-handed.
Oh my God.
That's all you got to know about this story. So when Joe reached into the food bowl with his left hand, the whole room stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally understand where you're going with that. That hand is for this hand is for that.
Right. You eat with your right hand.
Oh my goodness. Now, fortunately, he didn't bury feces into
No, because he's,
right.
you know.
He's like, did he have to yell everybody
But
no.
We straightened it out.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the week, Joe ate while sitting on his left hand and eating with his right hand.
Oh,
we made him literally sit on his left hand.
And they don't know, but the whole time Joe's actually just digging his fecal matter into
it was
No.
but that was.
Oh, that is
and before I move off of Bangladesh, we traveled with the folks from Ex Officio. You know who that is? The travel gear, local company, Seattle company.
Okay.
Ex Officio. Okay. They make like those quick, pants you can wash in the sink and be dry in 3 minutes.
Oh.
I mean, it's lightweight. This. Oh my God! Online, there's a store downtown in Belltown. Ex Officio is
now a sponsor of the Spike and Jones.
Oh, dude, their motto is like 14 days, 3 pair of underwear.
Really?
You literally wash them in the sink and they're dry in 2 seconds.
Wow.
All they're light and they lightweight. They come out wrinkle free. They pack light. They wash easy.
Military gear, basically.
No, lightweight, super. I got tons of Ex Officio shit at home because they've outfitted us for these trips. But they have this stuff called Insect Shield that's got built-in insect repellent in it.
Oh.
Okay, and literally, we were in like in the nowhere lands of Bangladesh, of the Amazon, of Africa. Never got bit by a mosquito.
Wow.
Not once. We were in this room in Bangladesh, and it was one of our first evenings, and it's like, it's 100 degrees and it's humid, and we're in this big hall, this big room, and you can see mosquitoes just everywhere. I mean, we sleep with mosquito netting at night, but you see mosquitoes everywhere, and we're wearing these Ex Officio clothes. And people that are locals aren't getting bit because they just live in spices, and their blood is just to mosquitoes. Yeah. But here comes the cream-filled Americans. You
smell like Coke.
We do. We were like, woo-ha!
Yeah.
But I literally watched mosquitoes come at us and stop and go back.
Do the clothes smell?
No.
So it's just, I want these.
Oh, they're the best.
I want these.
They sell them. And they got a retail. They got
here in Seattle.
Oh yeah.
We got to link this on the podcast.
Ex Officio is the bomb.
Really?
Oh my God! It's like you ever seen the movie Independence Day?
Yeah, of course.
I expected mosquitoes to come up to us and just little puffs of blood exploding. Like when they got near us. They make bandanas of insect shields you can wrap around your neck.
Wow.
T-shirts, pants, long sleeve shirts.
Kid sizes as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got man, dude. There's a cute little Darby's got a cute little long sleeve white shirt with a cute little insignia on the front here, and you out in the woods, forget it. Nope, not a bite one.
That's awesome.
The greatest.
I live out by the river, and we do this time of year is when they start popping.
Oh, you got to go to Ex Officio.
Wow.
And they got a clearance section in the back there from last year's stuff.
So damn.
Because I don't give a crap, but it's travel tech wear.
Wow.
It's tech wear for travel.
I totally got to check it out.
Lightweight. We're in the Amazon. Torrential rain.
Yeah,
just getting
brutal.
You're just soaked to the bone. 10 minutes later, your shirt's bone dry.
Wow. So I need this in Japan.
And super light
because it's
with vents in the back, pockets, cargo everywhere.
God.
The greatest.
Wow.
Ex Officio shit's the greatest on earth.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So as we talk about travel smart.
Travel smart.
The first time you travel abroad, you got the American, you're like Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
You're Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
You're lugging the wheeled luggage through the mud.
Yeah.
Second time you go, you've got a backpack that weighs 7 pounds.
Yeah.
And you got 2 pair of pants, 4 shirts, 2 pair of underwear, 5 pair of socks for a month.
I want
and you're
that.
Good.
I totally want this gear. That's
dude,
awesome.
This is great. I got like the rain hats that have mosquito repellent on them. Oh yeah.
See, the thing about Japan, I haven't been there a million times, but I've been there a number of times. Is it's highly humid, and what's going on?
No, 12:10 is the time.
Oh, okay. So
Japan. Sorry.
Do I have enough time?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, because I want to tell one story that is a lot of fun, and my wife will probably wish I hadn't, but I want to share it anyway. So
you naked with a stranger in a roller coaster trip?
Oh no,
because you got a better story than that.
Well, it's just
you've been holding out.
It's dark. So in 1998, I decided I wanted to get married. I wanted to marry my future wife, who I am married to. And so I decided to go to Japan and to see her and to basically ask, I shouldn't say so much ask for her hand in marriage, but to meet her family so they could fall in love with me and accept me. So if I did ask their daughter, they'd be cool with it, right? Because I live here in America.
Right.
So I went over, and I was missing her a ton. And
she was here traveling, and you met her?
I met her. So she was an exchange student, South Seattle Community College.
Okay.
And it was great. My neighbor had an exchange student staying there, and she was over visiting one day. I walked in the house. I was like, holy crap, who's that? And that was it.
Yeah.
That was like sold.
Yeah.
I literally went home to my house and I pretended I had a new girlfriend. I'm not kidding. I'm 30 years old, and I'm sitting there on my chair. I'm sitting there on my couch going, so, hey, what's going on? You know, and the whole thing, making up words and lines to sell her on me.
Oh, my God.
But we ended up, after I met her, it was a couple months after I met her, and then we started dating, and then we dated for about 5 months, and then she went back to Japan. And I was just missing her terribly.
Yeah.
And
communicating with her?
Yeah.
Phone call, emails?
Oh, I actually have an entire printout of every email we ever sent to each other.
You are adorable.
We're talking a stack 3 cases tall.
Oh, wow.
Of every email we ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, between us for a year and a half before we got married. So I
all I got's Joe Eaton with his shit hand stories.
Yeah,
you got this. This is great.
So that starts at the end of January of 98. I went there in the end of March in 98. And first things first, my round trip flight was via Korea Airlines, and it was $440.
Wow.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
That it was that cheap.
You can't get to Vegas and back for that
Most
anymore.
extraordinary flight I've ever had in my life because the service level was incredible. It was like being in first class the whole time.
Wow.
Amazing food, amazing service. I mean, wine, name it, the whole
yeah.
shebang.
Oh, yeah.
We hit incredible turbulence on the flight over. Incredible. I mean, we're talking like hit the ceiling type without
free
your
fall
seatbelt on.
drops. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was sitting next to a Korean girl, and she would just grabbed my hand, and she was just sweating profusely and just held my hand the entire flight. It was amazing. It was kind of awesome. But we were diverted. We landed in this weird island in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of bizarre. And then finally into not Hanoi. What's the capital? The
Da Nang.
The southern Korea. Oh my goodness. Seoul, thank you. So we landed at the airport and then jumped over, into Japan finally. So I've been up all night because we departed at midnight here. Yeah. And so it's noon, but a full day ahead. Yeah, so I left on a Thursday, ended up on a Saturday morning, landing at Kansai. When you get off the airport, excuse me, when you get off the plane in Kansai and you step off and you look at the airport, it looks like Blade Runner. I mean, it's a mile long tube, just one tube that's a mile long, shaped like it's buried in the ground, like an oval.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's 5 stories deep, so it's buried into the ground, built on a man-made island that is sinking, and they have to prop it up every day, all day.
Wow.
You go on Discovery Channel or go on YouTube and look it up. There's an incredible story about the Kansai airport. Anyway, I get in there, I land. The first thing I said, and I said it out loud, was, I feel like I've been adopted and I just met my birth parents. Japan felt like home. The second it was crazy. Maybe a combination of smells. I don't know what it was, but it just felt like I belonged here. I know I was excited to see my girlfriend. It was all that stuff, but it just felt amazing. So we land. I go through customs. They're cool. The weirdest part, and you can totally tell this is pre 9/11 because I get to customs and I don't have my girlfriend's information, her address, nothing. I got my passport. That's all I got. And I walk up and he goes, "Where are you going?" And I go, to my girlfriend's house.
You know her.
The girl who looks like a Japanese girl.
Come on, she's just tall.
And he goes, so what town? And I go, and it's Takarazuka? And he goes, okay, Takarazuka. And he goes, and what's the phone number? And I'm like, that was the part I had memorized, and I still have it memorized. So I gave him the number, and then, he was cool. He checked my stuff, but he didn't really check my stuff. I could have totally smuggled in anything.
Right.
Walk through, and I go around the corner, and there she is, just cute as a button, just adorable, missed her to death. And I see her, but I got to pee like crazy. And I run up and I give her a little peck on the cheek. And I go, I got to use the restroom. Where's the restroom? And she points over there. And her English at this time is about 5 words. I mean, my wife has extraordinary vocabulary and super bright. But at the time, she just, she went back to Japan. So she lost the English she knew. So she had very, very small vocabulary. And she said, over there in the restroom. So I go over to the restroom, and I should have listened to the fact that from behind me I could hear this, but, you know what I mean? So I go in there and go to the bathroom, and I use the toilet, and then I turn around and wash my hands, and it's towels. There's no towels anywhere. And there's no paper towels, there's nothing. There's no blow dryer, there's nothing. And I walk out and I'm like, where's the towels? And she goes, this is Japan. And I go, what does that mean? We don't have paper towels here. We don't have toilet tissue. I go, what? You have 3 seashells? It was like, what? Well, at home we do, but not in any public spaces. You're just not going to find it. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, it's just that everybody carries, and she opens up her purse, and she's got a little package of towelettes. Okay. Yeah. So we leave. We go out into the airport. It's amazing. I mean, it's like I said, Blade Runner. Yeah. We get out and we take a train into downtown Osaka, which is about a half an hour away. And that was an overwhelming experience because I start to see real Japan out the side of the window, and the mishmash of construction and design, old versus new. There's like no building code in Japan. Right. There'll be a skyscraper, a temple, a McDonald's, all right next to each other. It's so and really it's so weird. So we end up trucking into Umeda Station, and then we're gonna jump and we're gonna get on the Hankyu Railway, which takes us up to Kyoto. That's where we're going for the first couple of days. Okay. So we get into Kyoto. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. Same sort of thing, but a lot older feeling. Okay. You know what I mean? And the thing that caught me off guard right off the bat was everybody's 5'3", everybody has black hair, and nobody talks. There's literally a town. It's like Manhattan with 10 million people on the sidewalks, all walking, by the way, in the opposite direction because Japan, the roads are opposite, right? Right. So everything is just very disconcerting, but it's so quiet. It's so shocking because it's such a big city. It's so quiet. We took a taxi. The door opens automatically, and this is 1998. The door opens like a freaking space shuttle. Yeah. The guy gets out. He's got white gloves on, the whole thing. The seats have white duvets on the back. I mean, it's like I don't know. I've never experienced it before. No tipping, nothing. We go to the apartment where we're staying, my wife's friend's apartment from college. And we come in, and you guys don't know we're recording this studio, but the room is bigger than her apartment. And it's $500 a month for an apartment about as wide as the table.
12 by 10?
Wall. Yeah, 12 by 10-ish.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where the kitchen, the bedroom, living space, bathroom is all jammed in that spot. Wow. But in the opening area, there's a wood floor, sort of a walk-in, almost like a walk-in patio, if you will. Right. And that's where you step in and you take off your shoes. But in Japan, that is a public space. The mailman can open your door, step inside, put your mail on the floor, close the door. He can do it.
What?
It's a public space. Now, they don't. I guess they used to. But that is considered a public space. That is mind-blowing to me.
Wow.
Now, just because I don't want to forget, in Japan, I've never once heard a neighbor. And we're talking, imagine, everybody's jammed in. I've never heard anybody make love, yell, argue, kids scream, nothing. Everybody just is like zip, quiet. It's crazy. The level of respect for others is extraordinary. Everywhere you look, vending machines. Japan is the land of vending machines. You can hike up a mountain. At the top of a mountain, there will be a vending machine with a power supply. I am not kidding. Mount Fuji has vending machines on the top. Really? That's madness. This is the craziest place in the world. And in those vending machines might be condoms, beer, video games. On the top of a mountain. I swear it's true.
If I'm at the top of a mountain, I want 3 things:
condoms,
beer, and video games. I'm telling you.
And so I mean, the land is, a friend of mine called it the land of Zen and sugar-free cotton candy. It's just the weirdest place. This mix of cultures and styles and thoughts, and it's
past and future. Just
wild. It's wild.
It's chewed up and regurgitated.
It's so extreme, right? It's so old school, like feudal Japan, and so modern with, people have like clear CD players. It's crazy straws. So, but I got to get to the story. There is a story to this, and then we'll stop. So I go and meet my in-laws, soon-to-be in-laws, and my mother-in-law and my wife's sisters and brother. They're great. They're fabulous. Father refuses to meet with me because meeting with me is a sign of endorsement.
Really?
It's not even talking to me. Just even bumping into me is like some weird sign of endorsement. So he refused. So when we were in my wife's hometown visiting with her family, I would be banished, swear to God, to a bedroom for when her father came home. So he would leave at 7 a.m. He'd come home around 7 p.m. So this guy worked every day for 40 years straight. It's crazy. We're talking 10, 12-hour days every day. That's what they do in Japan. He comes home. I'd have to go upstairs and wait until he ate dinner and did his thing, watched his TV, had his beer, and retired to his bedroom so then I could come back downstairs. I had to do this every day. And I'm 31 years old when this is happening. It was like being a 5-year-old. It was just crazy. Mm-hmm. He refused to meet with me. The day before I was to fly back home to the States, and now I was fiercely in love with the country. There's a million stories I could tell you, but it was time for him to come home. And so my mother-in-law was doing what she always does. She gets in her car, she drives down to the train station and picks him up because he doesn't drive, okay? So she says, I'm leaving now. I need you to go upstairs. And when they leave, I hear a siren outside. I have never heard a siren in Japan. This is the second time ever. I mean, first time of twice I've ever heard a siren in Japan in 20 years. In 20 years. Hear a siren. I run outside. My wife runs outside, girlfriend at the time, and everybody's running down the street because they're trying to see what's going on because this never happens. Like there's never fire. There's never a reason for police action. Nothing. We go running up the hill. Can't figure out where it is. But so now I'm about the equivalent of 2 blocks away from the house, up the hill. Mm-hmm. I turn around. We're getting ready to walk back, and I see coming up the hill my mother-in-law's car. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my chance. So I start sprinting towards the car, and I can hear behind me, stop, don't. I sprinted down. I got to the car when they drove up, and I stood in front of his door and wouldn't let him out of the car until he dealt with me. I would not let him out of the car. I just stood there with my arms crossed, and I just stared at him. And he sat in the car. He wouldn't look at me.
Wow.
I'm up. I'm up to the side. And he was just sitting there, just stone faced, not gonna acknowledge you. Mm-hmm. And I stood there for about 5 minutes. And every once in a while, I could hear them talking because he was basically saying like, "I want him to go away. I want him to go away." He just didn't want to deal with me. Mm. And finally, he kind of turns and he looks at me, and he goes like, he kind of does his hand flick.
Yeah.
And I step back. And he opens the door, and I said, Hajimemashite, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, which means nice to meet you, right? My name is Rob. And he looks at me, and he stares at me for about 5, 10, maybe 10 seconds. And he finally says one word, beer.
Yeah?
Swear to God.
You had a beer with him?
And, yep. So I'm not a beer guy, but I was like, this is my chance, right? So he says, beer? And I said, yes, hi, And so he walks. My mother-in-law walks, and when she gets behind him, because that's what they do. Guys are always leading, right? She turns around and she gives me the big like okay sign. You know what I mean? And she's like, "That's great, right?" So here's a long story short. We get to sit down at the table. He's getting his food. He's having beer. He's pouring me beer because that's what you do. Mm-hmm. I pour his beer. Mm-hmm. He's asking me questions like, and I swear to God, this is true. My wife, when she hears this, she will laugh. You look like Kevin Costner. Why aren't you already with someone? Me?
Yeah. Did somebody translate that for you, or did he speak English?
Yeah, my wife
translated.
Yeah, she said he thinks you look like Kevin Costner. just that whole of like black people all look the same, that sort of idea, right?
Right.
And so he ended up, drinking a little bit and getting a little buzzed, and then asking me crazy questions like, and so for a long time we never told him I had kids or I'd been previously married. I mean, it was kind of a delicate situation. So anyway, we get to the end of this, and it's great. I fly back home. I miss her tremendously. I'm completely in love with her. I ask her to marry me. We get married. Next time I go to Japan, I land.
She's your wife at this
She's
point?
my wife now. We go to Japan. We get to the house. He's there. He can't wait for us to show up. He treats us to incredible dinner, takes me to amusement park because he knows how much I love amusement parks. I mean, he figured it out, which was amazing. But the best part of this whole thing, and here's a guy who is not exactly the nicest guy in the world, certainly not to his wife or his kids.
Right.
Kind of ferocious alcoholic, to be fair. We get up the next morning. He says, tomorrow we're going to go to this place called Festival Gates where the roller coasters are. And I'm like, this is great. So we get up 7, whatever, jet lagged, whatnot. He's been up, and he gets us a taxi. We drive down to the train. We get on the train, and I'm standing there, and I'm just having a good old time. Just like, this really worked out. This really worked out. And my wife says, did you notice? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, look down. I look at my shoes. They've been polished. He had gotten up early and polished my shoes. I mean, we're talking like Jesus type subservience here.
Yeah.
Right? Never done it since. But he did that. And so here's this guy who went from I refuse to acknowledge you to polishing my shoes within a year's time. And I mean, that's just the end of the story. There's nothing necessarily crazy about it, but it's just the fact that, I mean, I took a lot out because I'd be talking for another hour telling the whole thing. But Japan is one of those places that confuses me because the cultural ideals, the way they think, their fears, their desire to conform, their desire to lead, and their struggles with people outside of their culture. They would never admit it out loud, but they're a fiercely, fiercely racist nation. Very, very nationalistic, very much about themselves, very much their belief in purity. But they really are. I mean, they're the new Nazis. They're just nice. Yeah. They're just not murdering anyone. But they really, really believe they are, in a sense, kind of a master race. The older generation does. The newer ones are just they're Americanized now. I mean, there's freaking McDonald's everywhere. You know what I mean? They have fluoride. They have fluoride in their water. They have 6 foot tall Japanese people now. It's an amazing thing. You know what I mean? It's the world has changed. But I encourage anyone, man, go. It's phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah, you can eat off the subway floors, dude. And we haven't even gone down the road of pooping in Japan. I mean, using public toilets and having to. The process of that, I mean, the way they have like ceiling to floor doors, so you have absolute privacy to use the toilet. The fact that everybody at home has the toilet with the bidet in it, so I mean, you never use toilet tissue. It's awesome. But I did want to say one thing about the toilet tissue thing, that they don't have it in public places. They're starting to kind of now, but what's amazing is if you walk through, say, downtown Osaka, on the in one of the busy districts like Namba or Dotonbori or something like that, there are people standing on every corner. They're always young because they need a job, and they've got giant packs of tissues that have advertising on them, and it's always for porn. It's always for men's clubs, porn. Phone number. It used to be the
escort,
calling lines. To talk to a hot chick, that sort of stuff. But you go up and slapping them, and you grab them, and just now you've got free tissue, and you never need to buy tissue. There's always somebody giving it away.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my story.
Where do you want to go?
Where do I want to go? I want to go to New Zealand.
Cap that off. We'll cap this off with that.
I want to go to New Zealand because it's like, honestly, I love mountains. I'm not a big sea guy, and I've been here most of my life. Yeah. I'm not into heat.
Yeah.
I like cool. Like if I go back to Japan, I want to go to Hokkaido. Hokkaido gets 10 feet of snow, and it's gorgeous. But it's cool. I like cool environments. I admit it. I love Iceland. I've been to Iceland. I love that kind of stuff. So I'll probably never go to Bora Bora or something like that.
I would say Bora Bora. It's so funny you say that because to me, a hut on a beach, blue water.
I want to do it once.
Trees.
I'm not gonna lie. To you.
I said I could live in Ireland for the rest of my life. I'd be just as happy on the Carolina coast.
Oh, see, that's the worst.
I would, man. I would.
For me, it's gorgeous.
I'd love to live. I want to retire at the ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean's all my fondest memories. I think that's where I figured out. Yeah. That's the ocean. That's for me.
I will say I do love the Carolina coast and what it looks like. And the history. I mean, it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
God, it's gorgeous. It's so hot and sweaty and just sticky, and the bugs. And, I mean, I haven't been to Hawaii. I haven't been to Mexico.
Yeah.
But I've been to Iceland. I've been to Alaska.
Yeah, that's funny.
I just like cold. I do. I admit it.
I'd rather be warm.
I can put a coat on.
Funny.
I can't take my skin off. That's how I see it.
Awesome.
I love you, man.
You too, brother.